Hi guys, welcome to today's upload. It's going to be the debut upload to Wrestling Fan Open Mic Night. I'm your host, Gavin. Gavin Oxfletcher has been known to give honesty towards professional wrestling for numerous of goddamn years. Just thinking about it, I started way back in 2010 on Gavin Ox, and I've been literally known by that name for many, many years. And I took a big hiatus talk about professional wrestling other than just focusing on wrestling vlogs. And obviously my sister channel to that channel was no other than Signatures, merch, and Blu-rays. Now, obviously that's towards my collecting, towards my fandom of professional wrestling as well as non-professional wrestling stuff. So you can check those entities towards obviously yours truly, as well as check out yours truly, Gavin Ox. Like I said, since I've been known to talk about professional wrestling, I talk about professional wrestling over on TikTok. So that's another platform you can reach my opinions towards professional wrestling. Now, I just want to say to everyone of you guys is I got taught back in 2010. I reached out to obviously, he should be in the WWE Hall of Fame, if not any Hall of Fame. It's no other than Bill Apter. Now, Bill Apter, me and him go way back, to the point where he was my first ever friend I added on Facebook when I first ever joined with Facebook, because I wanted to reach out to people in the business to learn from the people that basically know the business inside out, how to present yourself, how to deliver yourself to the masses. Now, this is a big, massive feat in 2015 to start from fresh on a very, very fresh channel. Now, I just want to say to you guys, as I thought, I've been really wanted to get that itch to get back into YouTube to talk about professional wrestling. Now, the thing is with me, as being a professional wrestling fan that I am, I'm very neutral when it comes to professional wrestling. But if it's adrenaline shit, I'll tell you it straight. I do not sugarcoat shit. I'll tell you it straight. I'm not going to brash tacks, and I'm not paid by WWE or endorsed by WWE to say their brand is the best one of all. End of the day, whatever goes in that 20-foot ring by 20-foot ring, from the referee to the two people that is in that ring, to the tag teams, to the hardcore, to the high flyings, end of the day, I love the entity towards professional wrestling. Now, the thing is, when I look at the way WWE has been of late, okay, fair enough. I'm not giving you my thoughts and opinions towards WrestleMania. You can check that exclusively on my TikTok page, and obviously give you my thoughts and opinions on that. Now, I just want to say this, with Monday Night Raw, I just want to point this out to everyone that's out there, that I thought this Raw overall could have been a lot better for a go-home show or go-away show, whatever you look class it is, towards, to end off our WrestleMania weekend. Even though we still got SmackDown to entity towards that, and we've got obviously NXT that is coming this very evening towards us on Netflix. We're fortunate to get it a part of our Netflix deal. Now, I just want to say to everyone of you guys is, to start off the show was John Cena's segment. Now, I just want to say with John Cena's segment, yes, it was good, but it's quite fitting. Today I wear Back to the Future hoodie. Now, I've gone pretty old school with obviously the way I started on YouTube is to film a video on my, lo and behold, my mobile phone. And lo and behold, I'm wearing Back to the Future today. And lo and behold, it felt like I was going back to when I first started on YouTube. I know it's 2025, and I started in 2010, and one of the very first matches, if I recall, when I started talking about professional wrestling towards matches and giving my thoughts and opinions on Monday Night Raw, was the feud between Randy Orton and John Cena. Now we fast forward many years later, with John Cena being a heel champion, he literally looks like he's feuding towards Backlash with, no and behold, Randy Orton. Now, I'm not being funny to anyone that's out there. I respect anyone that goes in that ring, but I'm not being funny. WWE should not be doing this. I feel like, honest to you guys, I feel like when you see the likes of John Cena, now Cody's out of the picture, even though what happened to WWE when they used to give rematch clauses? If they lose a title, they guaranteed a rematch. Don't WWE do that anymore? We'll soon see going forward. Now, I just want to say with this, if they are setting towards Randy Orton versus John Cena at Backlash, it's not 2010, it's not 2011, it's not 2020. 2012, sorry. But end of the day, you've got to think about it in the logical sense. Why is WWE doing this? Yeah, John Cena getting his wishes. He wants to face everyone that's probably he's faced over the duration of his career, and he's only got 20. The countdown bit of the appearance, yeah, it was good, don't get me wrong, but with Randy Orton feuding for him, you know what would be nice? If John Cena will actually work with young and up-and-coming stars of the WWE, because that's what will give it a different entity towards his title reign before he disappears from the WWE programming. And that's just me being honest with you. Then we'll go on to the tag team match between Becky Lynch and Lyra. I can never pronounce her name right. I do apologise. Now, this was an okay tag team match between, obviously, Liv Morgan and Raquel. And the one thing that I don't feel like this match actually delivered even at WrestleMania. I just want to say this. I don't know why they drafted Becky Lynch in for that one moment in time, is it? But then all of a sudden she turned heel on a favourite fellow Irish lass, no other than Lyra. Now, I look at this and I'm thinking, okay, you've just brought her back only less than 24 hours ago as a face for that pop at WrestleMania, that WrestleMania moment, that oh my god moment. They could have easily put Chelsea Green in that tag team match, but no, they went with the Becky Lynch. Now, the thing is with Becky Lynch, don't get me wrong, she is a talented wrestler, but for her to come back, then turn her heel, with no build towards it, you could have... I'm going to say this, right? If you were bringing Becky Lynch as a face and then turn a heel less than 24 hours later, it's a shambles. And then Liv Morgan and Raquel obviously got the titles back. But it's just absolutely such a pointless heel turn. If you are building towards your all-women's pay-per-view Evolution, this is where they're actually starting the starting blocks with obviously this. And I don't feel it's necessary to do so, because I think that's meant to be in July and we're going into May near enough. So it's not that actually great. And then obviously Alpha Academy came out. Oh, Rusev returned. Okay, fans made a big song and deal about this all over social media with the rumours and speculations from obviously Rusev being Miro in AEW. He's gone back to WWE. But is that the best you're going to come up with? For him to face American Alpha Academy. What is this going to be? Is this going to be a Backlash where you've literally got Rusev versus Otis? Is this the best you're going to come back with? You know, I wouldn't mind Aiden English to randomly walk out and go say it's Rusev Day. Like, the fans love that when he was in the company in the WWE. Or if you are drafting Lana, use Lana the way she once was known for. I feel like Rusev has gone back and he's literally hard done by already, going back to the company. Right. He had Stephanie Vaquer versus Io Sky. It was actually a good match. I didn't like this sort of ending because obviously you're putting loads of women together and all that lot. No disrespect towards the ending. Obviously, it ends in disqualification, and then obviously you're still building towards the Evolution pay-per-view. This is why you're putting loads of NXT, loads of main roster. It could be easily a massive clusterfuck, to be honest. You know, even though the match was good, it got finally going. But don't chant this is awesome before it's even started. You know, it's getting repetitive when people do this is awesome chants when it's not necessarily. I feel like WWE are pumping in the sound towards that. Then obviously you had the likes of Jey Uso having his celebration of his world title win at WrestleMania. I look at this and I thought, okay. I literally thought, okay, fair enough. It is what it is. You know, and I'm not a fan of Jey Uso, and that's just me being honest. I prefer him as a tag team wrestler more than a main roster member. But then obviously a heated exchange between Karrion Kross and the likes of AJ Styles. I'm interested about this because even though that work shoot that Karrion Kross that everyone's talking about, that hit social media, I literally feel like this is going to be a good entity towards going forward. Finally they found something to give Karrion Kross. Even though it was a work shoot, but my God, it was good. He spoke the truth. It's not very often we actually get that sort of treatment. I feel like the likes we've had Adam Cole when he was in WWE, when he shot Pat McAfee. Sorry, I got a bit tongue-tied. I do apologise. To give that entity and to literally have that once in a blue moon. You had the likes of The Miz doing it when he did it with Daniel Bryan with the IC title, what he's notorious for. And now Karrion Kross. Now, Karrion Kross, I'm glad they're starting to use him and utilise him. But failing to mention that about the Jey Uso celebration for the world title, Sami Zayn come out as well as Jimmy. I'm waiting for our brother versus brother is going to happen at some point. We may get that at SummerSlam. I'm hoping Jey Uso does not beat Kofi Mania, or AKA Kofi Kingston, towards his title reign. Now then, Gunther comes out. Gunther's come out and destroys Pat McAfee as well as insults Michael Cole. I'm just thinking, okay, that literally made no fucking sense. If you're going to take the piss out of someone, you can't say this was golden. Okay, it was golden, but it slightly shoes on the foot. I'm not being funny. I do like Pat McAfee to a point, but then you look at the likes of Michael Cole. Pat McAfee at the moment is pissing me off on commentary. Then you had Dominic Mysterio versus Penta. Absolutely good match. I did like that match, to be honest. It was a good match in all, and then you actually had obviously the celebration with obviously the clubhouse, whatever they want to class it as. I literally look at that, and JD Madonna is actually Madoa. Jordan Devlin. I'm going to call him his old name. But with Jordan Devlin, he's returned after his injury. It's good to see him return. Then you literally had the main event of the night, the talking point, where you've literally got a really good spanner in the works, and it looks perfectly done, does it? No. To be honest, right, you got Paul Heyman's new Paul Heyman guy. Right? I just want to say this. Seth Rollins, great on the mic. Doesn't need Paul Heyman. But obviously, when you've got the likes of CM Punk coming out for a random little spot, fine. You've literally got the likes of Roman Reigns coming out, fine. You expect beef between them. Then obviously you got Bron Breakker that comes out. They're actually starting to make a future main eventer. And they're doing the legacy sort of thing. Not with the likes of back in the day when Cody Rhodes and that lot. But I was really, really surprised they've executed. The thing is, I love the idea of Bron Breakker being the new Paul Heyman guy towards a faction between him and Seth. But it's the most frustrating is, and the massive frustration is, you've executed this too quick. You should have literally gave it some build, some depth. Because I'm not being funny, Bron Breakker needs a mouthpiece, and it's perfect for Paul Heyman. Absolutely perfectly done. But you should have executed this possibly at a pay-per-view. Give it some build, because at the end of the day, we've had literally over 5 years of the bloodline. Now we've got something interesting to see where this is going to go, where this is going to land. Is John Cena go cahoots with Paul Heyman at some point? But I've got a feeling who's going to be joining them. And it'll be necessary if it pans out the way I hope it does, they don't rush it. Add Becky Lynch to the fold. Because a recent heel turn was rushed, don't get me wrong. But the best time to ever do it? At the Evolution pay-per-view. The all-women's pay-per-view. It'll make sense to do it there. You know, these sort of special occasions when you want to see the next future faces or the heels of the company breaking through. You see a future Karrion Kross at long last. You've seen the future of Bron Breakker, but even Bron Breakker, yes, I can see the mold. I can see what Paul Heyman's going to do with him. Should have given my microphone some Viagra so it stays up. But I digress. But if you know what I mean, don't get me wrong, Raw was a bit of a lackluster. Absolute lackluster and frustration. Where you're thinking, okay, you've executed this perfectly. Where can you go from now? You know? It's like, okay, you build John Cena as a heel. Where can you go through now? Okay, you give him Randy Orton. Why? Right? I'm not one of these people that compares companies. I never have, never will. But I just want to say this. If AEW gets ridiculed for the likes of Jon Moxley being champion, and then you literally are for people criticizing when Cope went for that world title. Now WWE's doing the vintage route. If you are going to do this every pay-per-view or appearance that John Cena has, it's going to be shit. I'm just hoping they're not just going to build up towards Cody versus John Cena at SummerSlam. I don't want that. I don't want Cody having the world title back so soon. I want John Cena to have his final match to pass the torch on to someone as young and up and coming. Maybe someone like Bron Breakker. I don't know why I'm saying Baker. I do apologise. But I tell you what, lackluster Raw, but there is good bits, you got to admit. But for a night after WrestleMania, it's kind of hard done by, you got to admit. You know, and that's just me being honest. Tell me your thoughts. But that's my thoughts and opinions. There's more things coming up and soon right here on the Open Mic Night. I just want to say I'm your host, Gavin Oxfletcher, has been known to give you honesty towards professional wrestling for numerous of years. And I just want to say this. I've got more ideas coming soon, very, very, very soon. In fact, I've got a theme music in the works for this very platform. I want to get people on my show so we can talk about professional wrestling along with the weekly stuff that I love to review, oral prediction videos, you name it. End of the day, this is why it's called Wrestling Fan Open Mic Night. End of the day, when you come on my show, the rule is be yourself. You can swear. Respect professional wrestling. Don't sugarcoat shit. That's the rules of Open Mic Night. As I said, I'm your host, Gavin Oxfletcher. Always gives you honesty to professional wrestling. So if you are new around here, you know what to do. Hit that follow button or hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell icon so you'll be in and updated anytime when I do any videos right here on this very platform. And obviously check out all my social media outlets down on the link tree below. Until next time, catch you guys later.